Hi, I'm Tim and this is Timberway Designs. In this series I take a rock or a slab and I'll take you through my whole process of how I make a cabochon from the rough rock all the way to the shiny cab. So this week I got a piece of Amazonite. I'll put the name down below because I know I'm going to butcher the crap out of this. Let's make a cabochon. So this is a piece of Amazonite. I think I got that right. Here, I'll put that there. So I like the color on it, and I bought it from the Richardson Rock Ranch, and I'll put a link in the description down below. They got quite a selection of stones, and so far I have not been disappointed. Actually, they're like a big seller of thunder eggs if you're interested in those. So here it is. I thought it was going to be kind of crumbly. I did one rock called Apatite, I think it was, and it was really crumbly, but this stuff looks pretty solid. So I got here, I'm going to make kind of a I don't know what the exact name for this triangle is, but it's going to be kind of a triangle color, and I'm going to try to capture the darker more vibrant color here, and we'll go just about like that. I got ultrafine Sharpie here. Trace that out, and that's 1.25 inches this way. So I'll take this downstairs, we'll cut this out on the trim saw, and then we'll take it over in the cabin machine and start making a cab out of it. So I'll see you down on the saw. All right, we're down here on my high-tech 10-inch trim saw, and we're going to cut this shape, kind of rough it out, get as kind of close to the line as we can, and then we'll move over to the cabin machine. All right, got the piece down the trim saw. We're going to trim this out and get it ready for the cabin machine. Well, that's close enough for me. We'll see you over in the cavern. All right, we're over here on my 6-inch Kingsley North caber. I'm going to grind this down to the line. We're going to start with the 80 grit, kind of rough it up, get it close. We'll get it on the line with 220 grit, and then we'll clean it up with 280 grit at the edges. So let's get going. All right, that's close enough there. We're going to move over to 220 grit. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's move on to 280 grit. All right, we're all prepped and cleaned up here. We're going to throw it on dot pot. Take it's all right. We're going to throw it on a dot pot and put a stick on there and start making a cabochon out of it. All right, we're all dopped up here. Basically, I'm just gluing a stick to the bottom of the cab with some lapidary glue. I can see it kind of fell over on me. That's what happens when you don't sit there and babysit these things. All right. So we're going to start with the 80 grit, and I'm going to do is I'm going to grind down and leave a flat edge all the way around this thing called a girdle, and about 1/8 an inch to 2 millimeter-ish off the bottom here. We'll go all the way around the cab. Once I get that established, we'll start cutting towards the center here. Let's start on the 80 grit. All right, got my girdle established. You can kind of see it, that flat spot going around the bottom there. So now I'm going to come up to this edge here, and I'm going to start working my way towards the center. Stay away from your girdle now because you established that. You don't want to be cutting that anymore. Okay, now I got my girdle or I got my dome kind of roughed in there. Now I'm going to start doming it. Alright. Kind of locking that. I might drop my girdle just a little bit on the edges here, make it a little skinnier. Alright, now we're going to move on to 220 grit. Alright, liking that so far. Let's move on to 280 grit. Yeah, get a little pre-look on the shine here. Not bad. It's got some sparklies going on in there though. Alright, we're going to move on to the polishing side. Alright, we're on polishing side here. I got a 600, 1200, 3000 and a cerium oxide on the end of the shaft here. So we'll start with the 600. Alright, now we're going to move on to the 1200. Looking good. Let's move on to the 3000. See what we got for shine here. Not too bad. Let's run it on the cerium oxide. See if we can bump this a little bit. This is my cerium oxide pad. It screws into the end of the shaft here. It's stuck to a foam backer and it's a replaceable pad. Works really good. I like the results I get with it, and let's shine this up. Alright, moment of truth. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I like that. Alright, I'm going to throw this in the freezer, get it off the stick, and then we'll take a closer look at it. Alright, we're back upstairs, got the cab off the stick pretty good and cleaned up nice, and there is what it's called right there, Amazonite, I guess. Alright, let's take a look at this. I really like the color, and look at the little reflective stuff it's got going on. I think there's a word for that, but I can't think of it right now. Look at that. And you can see it on the back a little bit. Yeah, got a decent shine. Worked pretty good. Now, I don't know if you noticed, maybe some of you have, but when I first started trimming it, a big chunk broke off and into my line, so I had to bring it back upstairs and move my template over and make another line on there. So if you see a hop where I laid it out on the slab, then that's what happened. I didn't put it in the video though. So anyway, there it is, right there. That'll come out really nice. Well, thanks for coming along and watching me take a piece of this and make a beautiful cabochon out of it. Like that. Amazonite. So, next week, I have a piece of Laguna lace agate. We're going to make a cabochon out of this. So, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Click the button down below. Slide over, give me a thumbs up. It gets the analytics out there so more people can find this content. And then ring the bell, share it, and hype it on your mobile device. Hype it. So this video comes out. I'm looking at my list down here. Usually I got it taped to the camera, but it fell off. So this video comes out every Saturday, and I do a different rock every time. I go through that whole process like I told you in the beginning. And then Wednesday, I have a video that comes out where I cut rocks in half, and we look at those, and then I make cabochons out of each one of them rocks and show it in the next video to show you that I actually do something with these rocks I find here. So I'm going to put a playlist up for this series of videos here, so you don't have to hop around looking for them. And then I have a playlist for the Wednesday videos, so you can go over and check that out, and then you can binge watch them. That'd be awesome. So I appreciate you watching and all. That's all I got, and I'll catch you later.